Hey everyone, Gravity here. Before the video begins, I simply ask that if you enjoy my content to hit that subscribe button below. Nowhere else on YouTube are you going to find a Battlefield player who's played with teams competitively since Battlefield 1942, nearly 18 years ago. Don't forget to subscribe, and please enjoy the video. Over the nearly 20-year history of the Battlefield franchise, there have been several great maps worthy of praise. A few of these go on to become legendary, icons themselves of the Battlefield series, and appear time and time again through game engine upgrades and subsequent iterations. This is not that story. This is the story of the maps that few want to play, and remember only because they were that bad. Maps which should never be remade. This is the story of the worst maps in Battlefield. Battlefield 4 is full of oddball maps that make little sense. Many symmetrical maps have serious balance issues, and some of the asymmetrical maps don't give a damn to begin with. In certain situations, however, a map can have a little imbalance and still be great. Giants of Karelia is not that example. Ever since Giants of Karelia was released in the final DLC of Battlefield 4, it has been held in contempt by many Battlefield players. It is a map of slow gameplay, frustrating terrain, limited visibility, and vehicle randomness. Whenever I hear the word Karelia, I think of two things: this absolutely terrible map, and the Karelia Suite by John Sibelius. It is one hell of a contradiction, because I absolutely love this banger of a piece of classical music. I mean, just listen! Amazing, isn't it? The Karelia Suite was written in 1893 and is the 11th work of celebrated Finnish composer Jean Sibelius. Originally a much longer piece, the Karelia Suite takes its name from the absolutely beautiful Karelia region between Finland and Russia. And, oh, yeah, right, the Battlefield map. Anyway, where to start? Karelia is a 7-flag map, which is not a bad thing. Games at least progress on the map. The flag layout isn't too spaced out, which on any other Battlefield map would be a good thing, and there are a few decent flags for infantry. So where is the issue? Well, Karelia's problem comes down to three things: its vehicle problem, its visibility problem, and its god-awful terrain. Starting with the visibility, the map is dimly lit to begin with an overcast and some minor rain. Significant cloud cover pretty much ruins the day for jets and helicopters, limiting their effectiveness with bombing or strafing by reducing the active spotting range and making any vehicle not shooting extremely difficult to see. Both are forced to play fairly low to the terrain and are therefore prime fodder for the mobile AA, tanks, LAVs, and everything else. Next, the vehicle problem. Problem here in quotations because it just doesn't make sense. The fact of the matter is, Giants of Karelia has 2 flags that are pretty good for playing infantry on, and the rest are incredibly frustrating. While a good chunk of this is due to the terrain, another huge reason for despising infantry play on this map is the incredible propensity to run into an enemy vehicle every single time you spawn in. I mean, there are vehicles everywhere. Just off the starting screen, each team is given 2 APCs and 2 tanks. That's a lot of armor, given that the terrain basically allows tanks and LAVs with thermal to KO infantry climbing and running down the hills at a great distance. Meanwhile, a bonus APC is granted for each team at the A and G flags. Note that I didn't say gimme flags, because while the A flag is definitely a gimme flag, the G flag certainly is not. The G flag, perched on a high mountaintop overlooking the majority of the map, is one of the most annoying flags in Battlefield 4. It is frequently a recipient of RU squads bailing out and sitting on the mountain above the flag, which is still in flag radius for some ridiculously stupid reason, and consistently acts as a choke point for new US armor to get obliterated on their way up to retake it. Moreover, the G capture radius extends well into the tunnels behind the flag, making clearing the flag even more frustrating. Not to mention that while it is held, the RU team generally controls the LAV that spawns there. This bonus APC spawn and isolated mountaintop location make it a pain in the ass to push on foot or with armor, and all while the RU players abuse the hell out of easy-to-use MBT laws, SOFLAMs, and javelins, further obliterating any other US armor approaching the E and D flags down on the riverside. Back to the vehicles. Enemy APCs and tanks can be found at nearly every spawn, as there is just a constant stream of new armor. And if you somehow manage to avoid the tanks, the helicopter is usually there to farm you as well. Each team does get one attack helicopter whose thermal vision can tear down infantry on the map, although given the terrain, very few attack helo crews have a good time, so maybe this give and take is one good thing. Curiously, the C flag provides another damn tank spawn, for no good reason really, and a bonus attack helicopter. Because despite how condensed this map was designed, infantry players were deemed to suffer even more. Therefore, logic demands that if you are an infantry player, you stick to the C and F flags inside the lab and reactor room, where, once the levolution occurs, you can get stuck among all the debris that litters the room. Looking at the big picture of Karelia, no one is meant to have fun. Armor players, despite being able to annihilate infantry on this map, are forced into capturing flags seemingly unmeant for them and getting stuck on terrain aimed at causing rage. Meanwhile, with MBT laws, SOFLAMs, javelins, staff and guided shells, laser-guided missiles from the choppers and jets, and locked toes galore, very few other maps embody the meme of Battlefield 4 more than here on Karelia. Then there is the D flag, nestled downhill to G and C. This flag spawns the only mobile AA vehicle on this map, meaning that, like some of the other worst maps of BF4, one team is going to suffer until this vehicle goes down. Why is this worth mentioning? Because on Karelia, the US team gets to the D flag significantly faster than the RU team, meaning that as long as the US team has a decent player with intent, the AA is always going to go to the US side first. Lastly, looking at the flag layout, with the majority of the flags being on the southern side of the map, as well as the mountaintop flag of G, should the US team have a good batch of players, this map rarely ever ends well for the RU side. The amount of bonus vehicles alone are enough to maintain a base camp, and it does happen to the RU side much more than to the US side. The RU team has a long way to travel to any flag other than A, and the B flag, up on its own high ground, is completely inconsequential to the outcome of the map. In fact, the only good thing about this map are the references to Battlefield 2142, with the C and F flags holding the early construction of the PaK Bogatyr Battlewalkers. A fact that only pisses me off more when I see it, because I really should have been able to pilot a prototype around on this map, just like the Levkov hover tank on the other Final Stand maps. More than that, it makes me furious that there hasn't been a Battlefield 2142 sequel yet. Karelia is a drab and boring map, unappealing to look at with bland textures, color, and lighting, completely unbalanced and frustrating to play no matter what role you specialize in. The terrain, with its winding funneled roads and its rocky, ridiculous slopes, are seemingly meant for vehicles to get stuck. The map size, while not too large, is made irrelevant by how long it takes you to travel anywhere, and without much cover. Clearly taking inspiration from Albor's mountains in Battlefield 3, it's like a level designer realized that the map was too big, and smushed it all together, and then forgot to add any detail whatsoever. Giants of Karelia is absolute garbage. Jean Sibelius' Karelia suite is not. So listen to that instead, and think happy thoughts about never playing this map again.